Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to another recording of Hearthstone. Today is Wednesday, September 12th, and we've got a lot to do. I've spent the early part of today messing with my Wi-Fi. Odd, very odd that the speed that I'm trying to get, which is 100% of the speed I can get via wired, seems to be drastically affected, particularly on the 5 gigahertz band, with just distance and power. So while I have a lot of settings that I've messed with to get it as far as it is, there is definitely an issue of just a need to crank up the juice and probably move where the Wi-Fi router is, but I can't really do that, not easily at least. That doesn't really have much to do with video games though, so let's move forward. We need to play rogue games and do a tavern brawl, so we'll start with that. I spent some of yesterday playing Dead Space 2. Unfortunately, also we pick your first 7 cards of your deck and we'll fill the rest with unstable portals, and you'll get portals after your mulligan. So first 7 cards, and we have to play a rogue, so I don't know how you can fix this in any way that you would want to play as rogue. Let's see. If we could look at cards that included cards that reduced their cost based on to how many things you've summoned that weren't in your deck, that would be cool. But interesting, Whizbang is banned, although he's not. Shuffle the golden monkey into your deck. He's not. Let's see. Deck would be full of duplicates. Let's see. You could take that. Yeah, there really is no good system here. No good system at all. If I could try for the golden monkey, shuffle 3 copies of friendly minion into a deck. Summon a recruit a minion that costs 4 or less. Recruit an 8 cost minion. Yeah, I really don't have much I can do here. Let's see how that plays. That probably is going to play awful. So yeah, I played a little bit of Dead Space 2 yesterday. Unfortunately, I also took a nap, so scheduling and sleeping just as soon as it started to feel like it was going the right direction. Seems like I am 2 steps forwards, 1 step back, maybe. Hopefully not 1 step forward and 2 steps back. I don't feel incredibly sleepy right now, so I might be good there. I wasted a lot of time playing Dead Space 2 because the Let's just trade that one. The character. What is his name?
The legions I command.
No, there is no character. I don't even know what I'm talking about. The game, Dead Space 2, keeps crashing. It keeps locking up my entire computer. I've at this point determined it's almost certainly the fault of the game itself, and it seems like there's no real solution there. So it's locking up my entire computer, which is not allowing me to stop recording, which is a problem, most definitely. So yeah, I'm certainly not happy. I spent an hour recording the same footage over and over again. It took me 3 different tries to get even 30 minutes of footage from point A to point B. I've lost about 20 minutes of footage in a pretty important part. It was the introduction of a new enemy type for the sequel game. Fortunately, later on they reappear, so it's not a total loss, but
do you have the artifact?
That certainly is irritating. Okay, so that summons the map to the golden monkey, which I forgot how this system works actually. So I could copy some copies of this back into my field. Let's see, the map to the golden monkey is a 2-mana spell, same as Unstable Portal.
Get back!
So, this is probably Explosive Trap. Interesting, not actually Explosive Trap. So I'm in a weird position also with Dead Space 2 because I need to get that stuff uploaded and going, but theoretically I need to spend the rest of today uploading the rest of the Boomsday puzzles and scheduling that. See, I think that's just going to take too long, so I'm probably going to have to just take a break with that and start getting the Dead Space 2 stuff uploaded. Theoretically, I guess it should have been uploaded
Do you have the artifact?
earlier, like last night.
Get back!
Job done.
Without Dead Space 2 running, my computer ran perfectly fine. There have been a considerable amount of updates from Windows 10, so maybe Windows 10 is, with its April update, really just did hammer out some really garbage code. That is also possible. What I resolved to do, because it was crashing my USB hubs, is take that character, pull out an old PC, what am I trying to say? I had to pull out an old PS2 keyboard and plug it in just as a backup. So now my computer has permanently plugged into it a backup keyboard, just so I can go hit Alt-Tab, Control-Alt-Delete, or just the shortcut key to stop recording. Yeah, I don't think my strategy here is going to work. Also, this didn't work. I don't believe. Well, maybe it did, because I didn't choose this one. Yet that's still in my hand. Okay.
Go fish.
Get back!
That didn't work.
I'll tickle the line.
Get back!
What else? I think that's for the most part the catch-up. we've got a decent amount of news to cover. So we can just start going into the news with the ever-present hope to have a quick and concise streaming session. Today's potentially going to be pretty long because we have a lot of news and we have a lot of daily quests to do. I recorded so much Dead Space that regardless of how much of it actually got used, that I was hurting my throat. So yeah, I am definitely in the right position to take a little bit of a break. Put any minions on the field directly on the battlefield. So let's start with the news and get through all of this. So there's probably the biggest news today is the European Parliament. I'm not sure if I'm going to get an article that really explains this greatly, has endorsed an idea of upload filters and link tax, so that everything that gets uploaded would have to immediately go to a filter system of some sort. They're not really explaining what a link is or what the filters are, or defining them in any kind of real legalese way. They're instead just yeah, that's not gonna work. Let's just play with the deck that I think everybody is gonna end up playing on this. So as I understand it, the upload filters means you would absolutely censor 100% of anything that's uploaded ever. This would inherently cost YouTube and Twitch and services like that a lot more money than, say, most sites that are only publishing their own things, because I imagine publishing your own thing doesn't require an upload filter. Or you could say it's being upload filtered and not really filtering anything. It's definitely a pro-censorship concept in the form of copyright. Copyright, more and more, particularly in Europe, is being used as this excuse to filter out dissenting opinions. And then the idea of a link tax, as I understand it, sounds just insane, where you, for every link you put on your website, you're going to be paying a tax. Yeah, right. Like, when you see things like this, from an American perspective, from a United Statesian perspective, I really think you just have to you will have to think that perhaps it's just time for the mostly United States companies, or a lot of them are United States companies, to just pull out of the European Union and say, fine, we won't do business with it. Now, on the other hand, you have EA and the Belgian authority saying the loot boxes are gambling, and we kind of applaud that. So they go one way and then they go the other way, and I guess that's how you know that the government is an average government in the European Union, is because some things they do seem very reasonable and logical, and some things they do seem to be total insanity and a lack of understanding of how the internet works. We'll probably get back to that article In the end, there may just be a great firewall of the European Union, and a lot of sites will simply refuse to let people access the European Union. And that's kind of not what you want. You don't want the vast majority of people in the European Union to get censored like they do in so many other countries.
Form of dragon.
I'm hoping to hit that guy. There we go.
Job's done.
Probably should have attacked this guy. Eurogamer has an article. The Nintendo Direct broadcast is scheduled for tomorrow. Update, new timing finalized. So, last week's Nintendo Direct will broadcast tomorrow, exactly 7 days on which it was originally scheduled. It is 11 p.m. in the UK, midnight in Central Europe, 6 p.m. Eastern, or 3 p.m. Pacific across in the United States. I don't see a real reason for people to bother to watch Nintendo Directs. You're really not going to get a ton of information that's helpful or interesting. It's going to be some pretty dry and boring stuff, particularly in this instance where I'm pretty sure they're just going to tell you what you already knew about how the Nintendo Online services are going to basically suck. TechRaptor has an article, Dead or Alive 6 punches in February release date. So, February 15th, 2019 is when Dead or Alive 6 comes out. I hope it's good for people who like Dead or Alive. Right, and let's see how this works. That worked pretty good. You see, I knew this Tavern Brawl was all going to be around the Mana Worm and just casting spells, because there's just so many spells to cast.
This jungle hides many.
We have a game on Steam called Cube Full of Mines, which looks like it's a clicking game with a giant cube. There was... No, actually what it is Minesweeper with a 3D cube. Interesting. Not sure how that actually plays out, but I'd be slightly interested in trying to find out. It's not doing anything interesting though. All it is 6 surfaces. So basically if you folded the 6 faces of a cube flat and made that a Minesweeper game, that's all they're really doing here. I really don't see anything different otherwise. I have plenty of health, so just keep on attacking. Cube Full of Mines has its own EULA. It's 10% off for $3.59. And let's see if it's the first game from this developer. Yes, it is. So easily skippable is just asking for way too much, considering it's barely just a slight spin on Minesweeper. There are better Minesweeper-esque games already out there. Well, that solves that problem with the Tavern Brawl. So let's open this pack. I still feel like it's the right move to open packs as early as possible. Like, I definitely could see an argument. Why do I have the different background right now? I guess I'm not going to complain about it, but I should have the Lemonade background card back, and I don't. And let's go ahead and disenchant this one for dust. I wonder where that came from. So I'm at 800 dust. I should have the Lemonade, but instead I have the Boomsday background, and I'll stick with that because I really hate the way this looks. That is just rather ugly. I think they're staying too consistent on the card backs anyways. They need to really spice it up and do a completely new design. Just, you know, every year on the anniversary just going, look, this is going to be our new design. We don't need to brand everything to look like Hearthstone. I know the Magic the Gathering card backs have been the same forever, and there was a reason for that, but there kind of isn't a reason in a digital version if you're going to change the card backs of all the cards. Rogue, and Rogue are all we can do. So we go over to rank play, we pick Death Rattle Rogue, which is already selected, I guess. Yeah, that's my only choice. And we play. Gamasutra has an article. Riot, the saga of Riot continues. Riot has brought in the former Uber culture fixer to fix up the culture. Riot Games has brought in Uber's former senior vice president for leadership and strategy, Francis Frey, F-R-E-I, to help improve its workplace culture. Frey will act as a senior advisor to the League of Legends Creators Culture Strike team, having spent a career helping companies such as Uber address their toxic culture by fostering inclusivity and teamwork. Now, I would argue that depending on if you must use that terrible phrase that is way too overused of toxic, I would argue that Uber is still a very, very toxic culture company against its drivers and its contractors, and many would argue should be its employees. Just because they fixed the 100 or so, I'm guessing, actual employees of Uber has a problem, or at least they say they fixed that, does not mean that they are treating any of the actual Uber drivers, any of the people that the end user would deal with, any better. Is like, I doubt it. And you know, when you compare to like taxi drivers, there's always been stories of people getting in taxis with taxi cab drivers and them being just crazy or just totally aggressive with their political beliefs. But for the vast majority, anyone who's smart that's a taxi cab driver knows that you just generally don't talk to anybody anyways. And sort of the benefit there of modern technology, where you can have Bluetooth headphones on and listen to music or have a completely separate conversation from the people in the back, helps a lot of that. Although I have heard of a couple of examples of Uber drivers doing crazy things and trying to turn their cars into party limousines and have weird events. Everybody's struggling to get that 5-star rating. Let's see, let's continue with the story. Her appointment is a direct response to a recent report of sexism and workplace harassment. So that like Gamasutra is continuing this saga and bringing back the old articles, which almost certainly did well for them. So yeah, that kind of makes sense that they're just going to keep on pushing the same stories. Kill that. There's a quote here. After spending time with Riot's leadership and many others across the organization, it became clear that Riot is truly putting everything on the table and committing to evolving its culture, she commented. In my interaction with writers, I've seen extraordinary levels of engagement on these issues across the company. Every writer with whom I've met truly cares about inclusion, which means real change is possible. Which certainly could go into a question about how can you claim that Riot is a toxic, sexist environment when everybody she's met in Riot is allegedly the exact opposite of that. They want inclusion. They want that. Another quote here is, Riot isn't simply interested in fixing problems on the surface, it has an ambition to be an industry leader and provide a roadmap for others to follow. I share that ambition and am eager to help Riot navigate this process. So yeah, we'll see what happens, or we're more than likely won't see what happens, and this will be the end of the Riot saga, which could have ended 2 stories ago had Riot just, like, I still think Riot should have responded to that first Kotaku article and then done nothing else. And had they just done nothing else, there wouldn't have been 2 more stories for them to write. They really kept putting their own foot in their mouth.
Have a taste.
Alright, I suppose in one way the European Union is trying to censor the internet. On the other way, Valve is trying to not censor Steam. So PC Gamer has an article, and this is also important to video game and freedom of speech, but probably not as important as, nowhere as important as the European Union trying to censor the internet completely for everyone. If I play this, I die. If I play this, I die.
My shield for Argus.
Let's go ahead and do 1 damage there.
Justice is mine.
Can't really do anything more, so we'll end the turn now. PC Gamer has an article, quote, naked demon with a large penis, end quote, and other content descriptors waiting for approval on Steam. Valve has a lot to sort through now that Steam's new policies have taken effect. Remember, this is coming from PC Gamer, who pushed for, it seems at least a month, if not 3, pushed for Valve to censor everything and anything on Steam. The first is to get rid of the sex games so nobody would complain about them, and then it would be the games that they can consider sexist, which would include almost every game, or games that they in some other way find subversive, because that's really what this all just comes down to, is a idea of censoring as much as possible and deplatforming as many people as possible that don't agree with the SJWs. Let's see. Article starts, yesterday reported that Valve had approved an uncensored adult game for sale under its new submission policy. So they're just linking back to their previous article. Let's go ahead and skip.
There once was a man from Gilneas.
Yo, shiny.
see, today developer Georgy Kutenkov, sounds like a Russian name if I've ever heard it. Let me know, like the developers of the Negligee Love Stories, which was the first game approved. And I believe Negligee Love Stories was supposed to be released like 4 or 5 months ago, because I saw it. Like, I knew it was coming out, and then it got caught up. So this person is waiting for approval for their game called Boob Saga, and contains a quote naked demon and quote resurrection via an opening resembling an anus. So this is like a a troll game. I'll open its store page just to double check. But almost certainly the first thing. Yes, there's the final part about this is this Russian developer is saying, I'm hoping people will, Valve will approve my game. Many people are opposed to my game in Russia, which, no, duh. So, let me just look at their website, their page, and yeah. While this may be using some 3D assets that they want and have a little bit of polish on this, this is, if not a troll game, a low effort game. In fact, I've seen games like this on Steam before, that where you're running around the dungeon and they've just put in some crazy nudity. Nude character models. I'm seeing in the trailer a bra that shoots bullets and a cannon on the crotch of a lady that shoots bullets. There's a censored outdoors that are supposed to, I assume, represent something gross. And it's selling itself with the phrase ultra violence. Like, this clearly is a troll game. So PC Gamer immediately goes and tries to find the grossest, most obscene troll game that have been trying to get on Steam for a very long time, and have some of which have been allowed on Steam for a short time, and they're just going to try and make that logical fallacy the slippery slope fallacy. If anything, I'd say this game actually has a lot of customization features that is slightly surprising, where you can adjust the body size and the clothing color. Yeah, I mean, it really is just a merger of a dungeon crawling game with obscenity on top of it. Even the name is just extremely low effort. It says available when the game is approved, and I doubt this game will be approved, because I think this is just a troll. Like, I really do. This isn't somebody who lovingly spent a lot of effort and their first intention is to sell a good game. This is somebody who's trying to sell something on sex. One of the screenshots has the character as a bunny, so that seems like that's an option too.
Versus Garrosh.
So yeah.
None can escape my fury.
No duh. That's called yellow journalism right there. That's propaganda. When you find the worst case example, you see it a lot on Fox News and CNN, where they'll try to say that they're having a balanced conversation, where they'll bring in, like on CNN, they'll bring in one conservative and then 3 progressive people, and then the one conservative is always this bumbling fool that doesn't have any way to defend or debate the 3 other people who are talking over them. And particularly on CNN, because I don't watch Fox News, you see a lot of the times the one of the 3 people that the conservative is debating against is the host of the show, so they will exact and use their authority in different ways to cut them off, or in other ways argue with them and discredit the person. So it's far from what you would call a scientific debate or anything that would be even ideologically useful for anybody. There are dozens, if not hundreds, of good H games, ecchi games, sex games that have been on Steam in censored formats and are waiting to get released on Steam.
Justice is mine.
To try and find the worst case example and say they're all like this just continues down my problem of the way Steam really was letting a lot of Steam Direct trolls put out a bunch of sex games that were really low quality, but then they were holding back all the high quality games. Like there is quality out there. There really is. If that's what you're looking for. Like, and most of the quality sex games are visual novels, and they are from Japan. So in a weird way, if you're not highlighting at least some of those, you're also kind of being anti-Japanese because it's such their field, which certainly is ridiculous. Of course, we probably already had this conversation several dozen times before. It seems like the good news is Valve is going in the right direction. One assumes the thing, lot of tricks and other shenanigans could happen to slow down the release of games more or deny the release of more games. But I am hoping Valve will see that every time they deny any game, there's going to be an outcry. And that was inherently what their desire was, to make sure that did not happen. Let's see. Can I die here? Not really.
Job's done.
Let's see, Your Gamer has an article. There's an Alan Wake TV series in development. I believe this isn't news, honestly, because I'm pretty sure that was announced like a year ago. And like that's like not anything new. I don't know, maybe there was something that happened in the background and there was an Alan Wake TV series, or they expressed desire to make an Alan Wake TV series and it actually never happened. That could be the case. Let's see.
There once was a man from
this. And what do I want to do? I want to potentially use this up.
Justice is mine.
So I'm gonna kill this one. Kill this one. Kill that one. Attack that one. The last part of this article, skipping down to the bottom, is according to Harlan, Thomas Harlan, A number of studios have already expressed interest in Contradiction's Alan Wake project, and that it plans to begin circulating Callaway's full pitch in October. So yeah, there is a pitch out there, which doesn't really mean anything. Like, you really aren't getting anywhere. Oh darn it, I needed to have killed this guy. I screwed that up. I screwed that up badly. I needed to get rid of this one so I didn't end up with armor. Ah, but that's not a big deal. Like, it'll be at least a year, if not longer, before we saw an Alan Wake TV series. And I'm not sure what you really do with a TV series either. Having played that first game and found it mostly boring, and didn't even play the DLC part on that, I don't know what you do to move that into a better series. The whole game is, for the most part, just a homage to it's really just an homage to Twin Peaks, and so you're really just saying you want to make a new Twin Peaks TV series, which there's already several games and that have already tried to make Twin Peaks games, and several TV series that have tried to be like Twin Peaks. Eurogamer has another article. Bandai Namco releases, pulls Cervantes reveal trailer for Soul Calibur 6. Let's see. So apparently he wasn't supposed to be announced yet. Or, you know what, I wouldn't be surprised if this was supposed to be some kind of announcement with the Nintendo Direct, or timed around the Nintendo Direct, although that would imply Soul Calibur 6 is going to be on the Switch, which I'm not even sure that's the case. So somebody screwed up. But that also is very much not very much news. It's like somebody accidentally announced something that we already know will eventually get announced. Let's see. Let's see. Do I have enough to win this turn? No. Alright, so Game Switcher has an article. Valve approves uncensored adult game for release on Steam. It is a big deal that the games are uncensored now. But also it's kind of weird that the game, it's just been one, but it has also been one day, so I guess we'll have to look at that. Weirdly, nobody is linking directly to the game. And I just tried to click on the link on Steam.
Flashlings are so fragile.
And it didn't work. Ah, I see. So it says, oops, sorry, you must log in to see this content. But then there's no way to log in, so their website really is screwed up. Like, I thought it really was just a lie there, but you really do have to, like, if you try to direct link to this content, you're not getting a place where you can click to log in. And I guess that might explain let's see. Destroy a minion, take damage to its health. hit that one, hit that one. And that. So I do want to see Negligee, but I would have to log into Steam. So how do I do this? I guess what I'm gonna have to do is bring up Steam, and let's bring it over to my second screen and see how this works. Continue to play. I need 2 more Rogue or Warrior victories. I could move over to Warrior, but I'm not gonna break a streak, so let's try that. So now on the Steam browser itself, yes, Negligee was on my wish list. It has been on the wish, been announced. Well, no, it says it's coming out October 19th.
Iron hand of justice.
Am I misreading that? That says October 19th. Then they must have moved the release date to a later point in the future, and then they got released earlier. Yep. So the thing I'd say about Negligee, as I understand it, is you're playing 4 parallel stories of 4 anime-looking girls in their lives and their dating. I don't see any male characters at all, so I don't know, maybe you're playing as a male character that dates 4 girls, but I don't think that's what I understood it as. Let's see, September 14th, fully uncensored it says. And what can we else say about this game? Wanted to see what languages it was in. It's English only, so it is a Western game, but it's animating nicely. So you know, it really isn't, I guess. It's inspired by anime style. Definitely inspired by anime visual novels, but they are big busted, blonde haired, at least one of them's blonde haired, blue eyed characters. I'd say the hairstyles don't change as much as they probably should. Each one has a different hair color, and I would say that the body styles don't change as much as they should. This is a problem certainly that people have to realize, is that if you're making a game like this, you really have to go the honey pop route of having a drastically different character for drastically different people's tastes. What I'm seeing here is, while there are screenshots of girls in lacy underwear, there's nothing obscene being shown on the screenshots. So maybe that's something that, unless it's in the video, and I don't think there's anything in the video. It's got mixed reviews. I'm gonna have to adjust the font size on this because I can't read it on Steam. It's overall rated very positive, but it's mixed reviews in the last 30 days, so I don't know what you can really say with that.
I wonder.
And this is from a developer who has developed several other games, but they have the new curator thing, so it's a couple other games. So I guess they get the first title. Then they will always be the first fully uncensored game, well, sex game, on Steam. Generally speaking, I would say it's probably an average game. It's not probably the best ever. It's also, while Japanese inspired, not a Japanese game, so there is potential if 2 or 3 weeks go by and no Japanese visual novels have been approved, but a ton of non-Japanese sex games have been approved, that would be questionable, certainly. It looks like a fine game. It's on my wish list. I see no reason to take it off my wish list. But also I see no reason to like throw up my hands in celebration and try to cover the game and try to somehow get that on Steam. I imagine it's a lot like Honey Pop, and a lot of these games are really just like Honey Pop, where there's very little actual images, and so there really isn't that much to censor in the first place. We'll possibly come back to that story if there's really anything else to say about it. Did I really need to hit that?
Justice is mine.
Next we have a game on Steam called Entangled. It seems like it's a physics game where you're a ball and you can grab onto certain points and spin yourself around with like a grappling hook using the mouse controls. And I think the idea is to try and play some pinball-esque experience. The things that are animated are pretty simplistic shapes though, and I just don't see anything here that would make it anywhere worth the $11.89 that it's selling for right now. Man, that is a really high price.
Justice is mine.
Yeah, it's 15% off for $11.89. It has 6 Steam achievements, so it's not like it's an achievement game or anything. It's the first game from this developer. It's just not good quality. I don't know how much this is news.
I want you, and you, and you.
I'm not sure how much of this is news, and I would hope that this isn't a stunt and made up. Although you'd almost hope it was a stunt and not something that streamers have to worry about. PC Gamer has an article, Dr. Disrespect, famous streamer, maybe slightly controversial streamer if I did some more research on them. I really don't care about Dr. Disrespect one way or the other. Like, he's a streamer. I'm a streamer, whatever. Like, he's a much bigger streamer than me. Streamers don't particularly follow other streamers too much. We're too busy creating our own streams. But Dr. Disrespect's in stream after apparent gunshot strikes his house, says family is safe. The streamer says this is the second time in 2 days that his house has been fired on. Which that inherently right then is why you don't want to ever give out any information, is because there are crazy people out there that will go by your house and potentially try and shoot you. There's an update, September 12th, 7:30 a.m. Pacific. Deputies have told ABC 10 News that the weapon used may have been a BB gun. The first incident, which occurred the day before the house window was hit, shattered the car windows. So, yeah, it's probably a kid with a BB gun more than a real gun, which that is good. So that's a great example of why you don't give kids BB guns, or if you do let them shoot BB guns, that they should be much in my same way that I think all guns should be at gun ranges, and if you want to have a fun time going to shoot guns, the guns should remain at the gun ranges, and the bullets should stay at the gun ranges. Or same as the paintball field too. It's like you should just rent those things out and not bring them home to a place where they could be used where they shouldn't be used. Actually, I haven't thought about it in a long time, but my parents' car happened to be shot out with a BB gun. Their window was. I'm not sure really what the reason was, if there really was any reason at all. But yeah, so I kind of have an experience like that. Although the one thing we didn't do is we didn't hear the guns from inside the house, and we didn't think that or imply for a second that we were being shot at with a real gun. There's a big difference in the sound of a BB gun versus a real gun. Although if you hear a window shatter, you hear a window shatter.
Mayen versus Uther. I will fight with honor.
None can escape my fury.
But that's kind of a reassuring, as I'm now reading this, it's kind of reassuring to say, oh, it's just somebody who at least doesn't have access to a real gun doing this, instead of it being something where real bullets are flying through his walls. Bullets go for, I think, about 2 miles, so if you shoot them in the air or if you shoot them through a wall, there's a very good chance that it will just keep going and hit you don't know what. That's generally a reason why you would. Justice is mine. I was watching a training video of somebody training people how to shoot and not miss, and they were talking about, oh no, you're not gonna be at a shooting range where you're 6 to 12 feet away from the person. You're gonna be within 3 or 4 feet away from the person, because you're gonna be talking to them, you're gonna approach them like a normal thing. And yeah, when you think about it, like, even when you see in police footage, like when the police start shooting at somebody who is running away and far away, they're firing a lot of shots and they're not particularly hitting a lot of hitting the person every time. And so yeah, there is a good chance that a lot of stray bullets are flying around, and there have been many stories where stray bullets have hit other people. Let's see, I don't want to attack right now. Moving on, we have a game on Steam called Just One Line. They say it's a fantasy RPG game book like indie game, heavily focused on choices and the consequences. I don't know what game book is, as far as it. They're saying it's a choose your own adventure type game, but you can craft your characters. It's not a great crafting system, and that they don't look very good. There is quite a lot of polish on this, considering this is just a visual text-based game. Like, it really doesn't look like your standard text-based game. Which I guess I really have to applaud the extra effort. But even though they put in the extra effort, the game still looks awful. It has 20 achievements, it's 15% off for $8.49, and I'm still very much questioning whether games that are text-based adventures should be allowed on Steam, if not filtered in some way. Although they probably are, for the most part, filtered, because I doubt very many people see them. Just One Line does have 75% positive reviews of 41 user reviews, so that's something. The thing too is Hand of Fate 1 and 2 isn't really too far from a text-based adventure either. But I would say if you go any lower quality than a game like Hand of Fate, you are invoking a level of poor quality design that's not acceptable. Let's see. We're back to the European Parliament passed this controversial copyright bill that could drastically impact the internet. The bill calls for the internet and internet link tax and other controversial measures. Let's see if we can dig into this down. And this is part of the reason why net neutrality being revoked in the United States was really just a domino effect of how many other countries are going to see that as a green light to do the same. There are already talks that like YouTube and Twitch are getting throttled the day basically after net neutrality stopped being a law. The paragraph here says, on the surface the bill aims to make certain that artists, notably musicians, performers, and script authors, as well as news publishers and journalists, are properly compensated for their work. Which, honestly, if you want artists, musicians, performers, and script authors to be properly compensated, the last thing you do is you strengthen the copyright law, because they don't own any of those copyrights. It's just that simple. They worked for hire almost 100%, and those are all owned by corporations like Sony, Viacom in particular. This is just a big old paycheck to Viacom and other people. The people that are constantly content IDing it. UMG, Universal Music Group, another great one that I have to deal with all the time.
Access denied.
Let's see. When it is used by sharing platforms such as YouTube, Facebook, and other news aggregators such as Google News. So Google, YouTube, and Google News both getting attacked directly, and throw Facebook in there for good measure. It's all about fair play for artists and journalists, according to the parliament. Let's see. Just go ahead and end the turn. How the bill goes about it, however, has caused a ruckus. The most controversial parts of the bill are Article 13 and 11. In that order, Article 13 holds companies like Google, Facebook liable for copyrighted material that users uploaded, which is insane, certainly. And that was the whole thing about the DMCA, is that the DMCA was sold at least as, oh well, to stop us from holding Google and YouTube liable for what a user uploads. You can fill out a DMCA and we'll take it down as soon as possible, and thus we aren't liable. This European law says no, you're still liable. So all of Google's Content ID system, pointless. It's been that way from the beginning. It's like every time Google bent over to satisfy them, it was never good enough. Let's see. To protect against those services like YouTube would need to implement aggressive automatic content filters, which inherently what this would mean is that all uploads and all like no more streaming, period. You can't stream at all in the European Union if this becomes law, because you would have to take some time to check and see if the if the thing that was being streamed was copyrighted. And all scheduled videos would now take way longer. Although, yeah, I'd say way longer. Because, like, uploaded videos right now, there's no 100% guarantee that they are getting scanned for copyright immediately. Every single copyrighted thing immediately. Some critics say the filters would essentially amount to surveillance and would ultimately hurt freedom of expression. Absolutely. And could even lead to the death of memes. Well, I don't think we can lose the memes. We want them. Right. Destroy a minion. Do this.
Justice
Attack
is
this.
mine.
Do this. And hit that. And that.
Job done.
Quote, anything you want to publish will need to be approved by these filters. Julia Rydo, a German lawmaker who opposes the law, told CNN. Perfectly legal content like parodies and memes would be caught in the crosshairs. Jim Killock, the executive director of Open Rights Group, echoed Rydo's sentiment in an email to CNBC. He planned for robo-copyright would target memes, parodies, and clips of people cheering at football matches, which have already been heavily targeted by the NFL. Like, we've seen how bad it is now. The idea that this makes it better
Justice is mine.
really just a level of insanity. It is just a lack of realistic understanding of how the world has been in the past 10 years. Let's see, let's skip some of these. They keep selling this as the meme killing law, which is what they were always selling it as, and I think that's probably the wrong one. Skipping on. Article 11 would implement what critics are calling a link tax. According to the scathing breakdown on Boing Boing, Article 11 would make it so that sites would not be able to link to a news story if the link text includes more than a single word from the article's headline. Sites like Google News and Facebook, that's insane. Like, how in the world do you describe to somebody, hey, check out this news article on CNN, when you can't describe what's in the article? And news has never been copyrightable either, so I don't, like, unless I'm just totally wrong, I never thought that the news was copyrightable. And if people are pushing to copyright news, that should just not be a thing. It should all be public domain. Public news and public information should be public domain. That's so stupidly obvious. Let's see. The final part of this paragraph is the good news for those who oppose the measure is that this is far from a done deal, as explained by Ars Technica. They are linking to several different websites in this PC Gamer article. The proposal now enters a negotiation between Parliament and the Council of the European Union and the European Commission. Should the three bodies agree to a final revised set of rules, it would be sent to each of the 28 European Union countries for implementation in national laws. So that's interesting. I don't understand how the European Union works particularly. It apparently is not like the federal government in the United States, where you just can make federal laws directly. You have to send it to the countries, and the countries then have to make their own laws. But I'm not sure I trust all 28 of those countries to implement those laws in the same way. Okay, where are we now? We have gone an hour and 12 minutes. We need one more victory here on the Americas account, which I can save that for Friday. So let's just, in the break, skip over to the European account, which at a certain point, maybe I won't be able to play the European accounts on Hearthstone anymore for some crazy law. Anyways, though, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below in the description box. And if you want to support me, you can gift me a game on Steam or support me on Patreon. Info down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.
Hold on to your mug. We're in for a wild night.
Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back with another recording of Hearthstone. Today is Wednesday, September 12th. We are on the European account. We've got a decent amount of stuff to do and the tavern brawl, so busy. We want to trade out something. Do we trade out this? Or do we trade out this? And I guess what I want to do is trade out this one. Alright. So now I need 3 games with the Druid or Hunter. And then 1 with the Priest or Warlock. And then 3 more victories anywhere. Maybe I could play a Priest deck here. And win. Otherwise I'm just going to play the basic Mage deck that I had before. Okay, so what I'm looking for, and there's probably an easier way to do this, is light spawn and then heal. Like when somebody is healed, heal. There's another card I know of that gains attack when it's healed, but I'm not sure I have it, nor do I'm not sure I need it. That's 7, that's probably not the right cards to play though. Let's see, double attack. Change, can't do that one. That one. See, I'm not sure I'm doing this right. Double minions attack. Another one of those. And couple of those. I can do like 1 of those. Let's try this, but this is a really weird tavern brawl. It's pick 7 cards and then we'll give you a bunch of spells, and somehow that is supposed to not end up with just everybody playing the mage with the mana worm. Yeah, I don't know how.
Anduin versus Gul'dan.
Some of these tavern balls,
Your soul
they
shall
seem
be
like they really
mine.
only have one
The
solution.
light shall bring victory.
Yeah, that's the maximum there. It's like, play this, this, and this, and it will be 20 damage. Assuming it stays alive. Let's go through the news. We got plenty of news today.
Job's done.
Let's see. TechRaptor has a article, Steam Watch - laser chain removed from Steam due to quote cyber lynch mob. Let's see. Signature in here. This laser chain was the skip down to the next paragraph. Now laser chain has been removed from Steam seemingly by the developers themselves following community outrage regarding the various incidents that have happened. Regarding the situation, we reached out to Ben Midas of Laser Chain LLC. I question whether Midas was really is the name. Ben said the removal was the result of a cyber lynch mob and elaborated. Let's see. Quote, Sid Alpha. This is interesting how TechRaptor quoted too. They have this giant parentheses on the side that looks like a logo more than a quote sign, a double quotation mark. Sid Alpha mobilized a cyber lynch mob and falsely accused us of criminal allegations. No charges have been filed from any source. The criminal allegations is in which they abused the DMCA, which I would agree was not a false accusation. Just because no charges have been filed does not mean that doesn't mean that you didn't do something criminal. That's just a straight up willful ignorance of how words work. This was repeatedly parroted by his passionate following and unjustly destroyed our game's online reputation. It never had an online reputation primarily through Steam. Being on Steam is more of a detriment than a boon at this point, with a mass of negative reviews led by Sid. If we decide to put it back up, I'll let you know, but I don't believe Steam is the proper platform for this game. Anyways, those are the facts. No, they aren't. I'm not responding to any more comments. I apologized for my mistake in the story. Did he apologize for any mistake ever?
Job's done.
I don't know about that one. Let's see. Due to the developer of the game, Ben, singling out Sid Alpha in his commentary, TechRaptor reached out to Sid Alpha, who said, quote, I take great pains to avoid weaponizing my audience, but if they think that this was anyone's fault other than theirs, they are even more full of SHIT than I thought. Which I'd agree with. What's funny about this logo and the giant double quotation marks is also it doesn't have an end quotation marks. Anyways, thus ends the saga of Laser Chain. Like, I don't know if there was anything more that needed to be said or done about that. Another random game on Steam that seemed to be more of a scheme than anything else. Interesting here that Steam didn't have to step in, and in previous instances we've seen this kind of drama just go on and on and on, and usually Steam has to step in and ban the user, like aka the Digital Homicide series of things. But I think Steam is quite rightly trying their best to stay under the radar with stuff like this. They don't want to look like the bad guy and have to ban somebody publicly if they can just say, you know what, just cut this out, or how about you take your game off and then you look like the better, the smarter character, or the bigger person. Let's see. Let's go ahead and play this, and then do this, and then do that. We have a game on Steam called World's Greatest City Mosaics. This isn't mosaic tiles though, this is Picross. It's $6.99. Somebody just started to spectate me, so hopefully they had a watch and learn and they just got it. Although I'm not sure if you get that to happen, if you just, like, in less than one turn start spectating somebody and realize that see a victory. And we got one rare card. That's not a great outcome for opening the pack. Would like to see better cards, particularly for my European and Asian accounts. Getting all of that to dust. And see, that leaves us in the position where we have a 3 Druid and Hunter victories to go with, so I keep thinking Hunter is the right one, so let's play the Druid instead, because I think I've played enough Hunter. So Token Druid, ranked play, still trying to get up to rank 20. Also, World's Greatest Mosaics is $6.99 with no discount. It is way too expensive, and I wouldn't recommend it even at 69 cents. Big Fish Games is back for their seemingly weekly release. They have Mystery Trackers Black Isle Collector's Edition, hidden object game, hidden object adventure game for $12.99. Don't have to tell you that Big Fish Games has lots and lots of hidden object site adventure games. I'm looking at the trailer here. It looks like they use some actual acting in a cutscene, which they usually don't. Usually it's just animated. Come to think of it, that live 2D game development engine that has been introduced to make visual novels, characters move and animate, it would probably work rather well for hidden object games too. Like, quite often you'll see characters that are just stationary when they're talking to you.
The light protects.
Yeah, this game looks like it's rotoscoped, or, well, not rotoscoped, but just live action green screen characters into the hidden object game.
Reporting for duty.
Mystery Trackers Black Isle Collection. It looks a lot like what you might nostalgically think that the Seventh Guest looked like, a game that I recently played, and sadly almost every bit of audio in that was content ID'd and copyrighted. Of course, since I'm not making any money on YouTube ads anyways, the digital copyright bit rot that I was having to implement doesn't really have to be implemented right now. Like, I don't have to go through the system and try and have YouTube remove those audio clips. I can just say, well, forget it. They can have the money as long as they don't block the video, which I don't think they do too often. That's only really Nintendo that blocks videos. Maybe a Square Enix trailer once in a while, once a year. We have a game on Steam, World of Warplanes. It's a massively multiplayer game. It doesn't actually look too bad. if you wanted to play warplanes and have some kind of an RPG upgrade system, the environments that you're flying around look actually really good. The planes look pretty good. This is from Wargaming Group Limited. It's early access, free to play too. The World of series is, I suppose, trying to harken back to like World of Warcraft.
The light protects me.
Job done.
Let's see. The only thing I can say is that Wargaming Group, well, no, they have a game called Naval Legends that's rated positive, Sea Smackdown that's rated positive, and then World of Tanks Blitz is rated mixed. But World of Warships is positive, and World of Warplanes isn't rated yet. So they're going with a whole genre of military-esque things. Let's see. The ESA, that is the ratings board for the lobbyist group for the video game industry in the United States, retweeted a health data article talking about a Cleveland clinic called ZME, who are going to develop VR-based clinical anatomy curriculum. That is cool. We have seen some VR like anatomy things that have already been released on Steam that typically have a tendency to not be that great and be a little too expensive and not detailed enough. If you're gonna develop a full-on curriculum, you're theoretically making a software program that is going to take you through different lessons for the course of 6 weeks, at least one lesson every weekday in that 6 weeks, to really have these characters be as informed and educational as possible. And I'd really like to see something like that come out. And it really wouldn't be a bad idea if anatomy was taught more in pre or earlier levels of education. Like there is health education certainly, but there's definitely something lacking in all of that too. Alright, so 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 14. That's not gonna work. So let's do this. 2, 4, 6. There we go. Next we have a game called Gift of Parthax, P-A-R-T-H-A-X. Says it's a 2D top-down action arena game in a gladiatorial wizardry. Interesting description, at least. It's tagged indie action adventure RPG 2D pixel graphics. And the pixel graphics don't look too bad. But I think the arena fighting is kind of the problem here. What I would probably classify as a top-down twin-stick shooter with wizarding abilities doesn't strike me as something that's... Not sure I want to do that, so I'm gonna do this instead. Yeah. Yeah, the actual gameplay mechanic here just doesn't look as interesting as the story and the animation style. And the animation style barely looks interesting because it's pixel graphics. This game also has 47 Steam achievements. It's 15% off for $8.49. So the last bit of information I could say is that it's the first game from this developer, which I don't know. That certainly doesn't help. It really doesn't help to have that be an issue. If this game was not $8.49, which is what I think it's saying, it might be $6.49. I might be misreading it. No, it's $8.49. Just had to zoom in a little bit more. If this game was like $5, maybe I could put it on the wish list, keep an eye on it. But they're really just asking for too much. Too much. Let's see. That one we'll keep and we'll get rid of the rest. Eurogamer has an article, Oddworld Stranger's Wrath coming to the Switch, and it's playable at EGX. It's kind of odd that Stranger's Wrath is coming out again. It was remastered for the PlayStation 3 and came out for the iOS and Ouya, and there's a Wii U version that's been in the works for a while too, so they probably transitioned the Wii U version to a Switch version. But the Oddworld series was definitely a series I couldn't ever get into, and I wanted to like it. I really did, but the game it showed, the game it gave me, just did not work for me. And Stranger's Wrath is a completely different game than the other Oddworld games, but it's like the fourth game in the series, and even Stranger's Wrath really didn't play the way I'd like it to have played. A full-on reboot would be nice, but also, which I think they are working on a full-on reboot of some sort, but it may not be for the first game. It may be a reboot for like the second or third game. Moving on, TechRaptor has 2-point hospital review, patient revived. Let's see. A lot of hype about 2-point hospital, with very, very few people actually reviewing it. So, like, PC Gamer has been obsessed about 2-point hospital, and Eurogamer was obsessed about it, but neither one of them came out with reviews. And I kind of think I know why. It's because there's cronyism going on here. I think the people that developed Theme Hospital and 2-Point Hospital are friends with people at Eurogamer and the mainstream video game industry. Anyways, and so when we get TechRaptor to come out here and review the game, give it a score, they give it a pretty low 6.5 good rating. So an average game gets about 7.5 on TechRaptor, as I understand it. It usually gets about 7.5 anywhere. The summary on the review is 2-Point Hospital keeps the spirit of Theme Hospital, improves on the gameplay, but buggy pathfinding and missing quality of life features brings the whole experience down. Pros, solid core gameplay, humorous writing, catchy music, and let's see.
Access denied. Hunting low.
This. Cons are buggy pathfinding, few quality of life features, no sandbox level or map editor. So you're probably going to get really bored with it. I don't know if this really is video game news, but it's a Eurogamer article. Apple's new phone is named the iPhone XS, leaks reveal. The iPhone XS and XS Max and the XR have been formally announced according to an update. I wonder what the XR is. Well, that's about as much as I care about for iPhones, so we will leave it at that. If people use iPhones, fine. I'm not going to get into a religious debate about it, but personally have very little interest in owning or knowing about them, other than the fact that they are a major console for video games, whether people like it or not. So new versions that can play games better, hopefully. One would assume the new versions can play games better. That's a good thing. THQ Nordic, for some weird reason, although everything THQ Nordic does these days seems very weird. They've come to an agreement to be the physical distributor for 8 to Glory, which is as I understand it, a horrible bull riding simulation game that's just not fun to play. But THQ Nordic will be publishing the physical version for the PS4 and Xbox One on October 30th. THQ Nordic also, in a previous story, acquired the rights for Kingdoms of Amalur IP and other assets from 38 Studios, but apparently, according to Giant Bomb, they actually don't have direct permission to print or publish even what they acquired. So EA apparently still has the publishing rights to that, unless there's some kind of legal shenanigans going on there. So even though THQ might be able to publish the game, THQ might be able to put it out there as the developer of this game, they don't have the rights to make all the money off of it, because EA as a publisher is probably going to have to renegotiate. So yeah, there's definitely some weirdness there too. THQ Nordic just seems to be on a money spending spree, and at what point when you see a company or a person on a money spending spree do you take them aside and say, look, you need to hold back, you need to save some money for a rainy day? Are you a shopaholic? Because I'm thinking, as a company, THQ might just be shopaholics. Are they trying to pull some kind of scheme too, where they run up the debts in the acquisitions of games and things, and then THQ Nordic goes bankrupt, and then it all goes into liquidation and gets bought cheaper by somebody else? Like, that's a weird thing, is that this could just all be, it probably isn't, but it could just be a scam designed around the idea of lowering the prices of old IPs and old games by manipulating shareholders, using shareholders' money to buy games to run a company into the ground, to then have that liquidated at a closeout price. And that certainly would be a weird article to read, where if you looked at the cost of video games to a developer trying to purchase the rights of them, are those going up over the years, or are they going down? Of course, that's all just tinfoil hat speculation right now. Moving on, Eurogamer has an article, a nifty Gone Home Easter egg adds official Super NES cartridges on the Switch. So, I believe what this does is replace some Super NES cartridges artwork that were in Gone Home, but they were super giant pictures on the cartridges, so nothing copyrighted by Nintendo. Now that it's Gone Home is coming to the Switch, you're getting the original art, which I don't know if that really... I mean, it's almost like what you're doing here is you're losing new art in favor of old art. So they had a game called Journey of Crystal and Adventure of the Cat, and now they've got a actual sticker on top of a Super NES cart for Super Mario Kart and Donkey Kong Country and the Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past. I don't know if that really does anything. It also puts Gone Home in the real world instead of a slightly different than the real world position, which I guess probably doesn't matter too much.
I comply.
But it is now establishing it to be set in the real world. It's barely an Easter egg. It's just Nintendo putting Nintendo things in the non-Nintendo products, which they've been doing for years. Moving on, we have a game called Assetto Corsa Competizione. Let me see if this is in English, because that sounds like it. Well, it says it's in English and Italian. So that's ASSETTO space Corsa, CORSA space COMPETIZIONE, which I assume these are Italian cars competing, is what that name implies. It looks relatively pretty, relatively lifelike. The visual level of quality in racing games is very, very high, and this seems to stand up to the standard of what you would expect. Okay, so can I do anything? Just I have to do this, and then this,
I comply.
this, and I kind of have to kill this. Alright, moving forward, there's an extra EULA on this game. It's early access, it's $24.99. I slightly question whether this is going to be a well-translated game, but it is already rated very positive, 87% of 208 reviewers, so I think for racing car games, this one is one to wishlist. So I will continue down that path and bow to the mob and say yes, that's one I will put on the wish list and keep an eye on it. Let's see, we already talked about this and there's nothing new to be said. Okay. Let's see. This is more of just an advertisement article, so you don't need to read that one. Just advertising the game Exapunks. Gematsu has an article, first Gematsu article today. The 2D Metroidvania Time Spinner, 2D Metroidvania game called Time Spinner for the PS4, PS Vita, and PC launches September 25th. Let's see if I can watch a video on it.
Hello, Wanderer.
Let's see. It is that 8-bit pixel graphics style, but being 2D instead of top-down, and it looks like it moves really, really fast. or at least at a point you get the ability to move really fast, and it does look like a Metroidvania game, except for magic and fantasy more than sci-fi. This one's got my attention, so I'm gonna have to make sure if I can find this. Well, yes, it does have a Steam page, so make sure that gets to my wish list too. Time Spinner looks interesting enough to keep an eye on for when it comes out.
Time waits for no one.
Next we have a game on Steam called Leisure Town. It looks like it's a low effort asset flip combining actually some interesting looking animated characters into a hyper realistic 3D world. Yeah, there's like no tags on this game other than it's a casual game. There's the description is first person game, let me enter the story. 40% off for 59 cents. At least they kind of know that this is not a good quality game. They're not joking or trolling to imply that it actually should sell at $13. And of course, Leisure Town is the only game from this developer. I think we probably are seeing less instances of just really low quality, low effort games coming out on Steam. They're definitely trying to do something more interesting, something better, something that will at least try and get some sales. Let's do this. And let's see. Let's go ahead and do this.
Hey, catch!
For the wild. Job done.
There we go. There is a Gamma Sutra, right? Is this Gamma Sutra? Yeah, Gamma Sutra article blog called The Mechanics of Tension. If I had more time, I would read it. Certainly it's talking about old games. I think a lot of horror game developers these days fail to make any tension or do anything other than jump scares. Even playing Dead Space 2, the audio is trying to cause tension. There's falling and rising action. It's an action, basically space zombie shooter game, so it's really just Resident Evil 4 in space in a lot of ways, like inventory management. And I love Resident Evil 4, so I kind of love Dead Space 2. It's just kind of a shame it didn't go anywhere. After that, yeah, Dead Space 3 exists, but I can just pretty much pretend like it doesn't, because it's not on Steam. Which, it is kind of insane that after Dead Space 3 came out, there has not been any games that is a space monster shooter Resident Evil style game. Zombies or monsters in space like that. I guess Prey maybe is sort of like that, but it didn't. It's so much like BioShock that it becomes a problem. I guess I need one more victory. Yeah, seems like after Dead Space 3 they literally killed a genre that they very possibly created themselves, and somebody should have copied it. Capcom should have copied it. They should have said, hey, let's make a spin-off series of the Resident Evil series, but set it in space, set it hundreds of years in the future, say that Umbrella Corporation is long since gone, but no, they aren't, they're still around.
Malfurion versus Malfurion.
I must protect the wild. Nature must be preserved.
But yeah, Dead Space 2, very good at doing horror games better than a lot of the games like Layers of Fear and Amnesia, where it's kind of nothing. It's kind of just jump scares. A lot of Dead Space 2, to be fair, is jump scares, but it's usually a jump scare that either attacks you and hurts you, so there's actual danger of dying, or it's a jump scare that you caused upon yourself, and then you pull out your gun and you shoot them, which is definitely not anything you could do in Layers of Fear. I would say, compared to Layers of Fear, Dead Space 2 fails to have any kind of like psychological hallucination effects. You get hallucinations in Dead Space 2 throughout the entire game, but they are just things you see that are telling you story and expanding the story, versus being, oh, you walk down the hallway and then you turn around and there's that hallway is collapsed, so you didn't actually walk down the hallway, something else must have happened, but you don't know what. Let's see.
Speak your peace.
What do I want to do here? Just keep on playing people. There you go. Moving on, Gematsu has an article. Mitsuragi Kamui Hikai is coming to the Switch. That's MITSURUGI space KAMUI space HIKAE. It's coming to Switch on September 20th in Japan. It is a high-speed sword-fighting battle action game. And I see a slightly more realistic animated anime girl, which I guess that in a weird way is kind of counterintuitive to say that. But what I mean by that is she's tall, she looks like she has realistic proportions, and yeah, she's not going for that chibi animation style. This very well may not be a great game, and this very well may not be a game that ever comes to the West. If it's only really on the Switch and it's not on PC already, that is also an issue. Yes, it is a very fast-paced fighting people and mechs with swords, hacking and slashing. It's probably a pretty simplistic game. It seems like it's just a random background area that you're fighting people in.
The light protects me.
It doesn't seem like you actually go anywhere or collect anything or do anything along those levels.
Job done.
Big sprouts of blood when you hit the enemies. This looks a lot like an Oni Chambra game. Fighting a demon.
Is patience.
Yeah. A lot of the Oni Chambra games are pretty simplistic to just kind of focusing on the sword fighting and having that experience. And if you're swinging around the Switch controllers, that might be actually really interesting. Now the trailer's showing the main character fighting another girl with a sword.
The scourge will devour all.
Let's see. Yeah, but clearly there isn't much to this game. It is pretty simplistic. It's gonna be on the eShop for like $12. Yeah. And for a Japanese game, oh, it is on Steam already, so we can talk about it. I put it on my wish list. Interesting. Gotta read the whole article. Publisher is AGM Playism, developer is Zenith Blue. It's rated very positive, 83% of 2,314 users. It came out March 10th, 2014. So it's like a 3-year-old game, and when you look at it from that perspective, yeah, there's definitely some things that make some sense there. think I'm just gonna end my turn. And the Steam version trailer looks the same as the other game. Has 33 achievements. It's $9.99. Yeah, I'll put this game on my wish list. It's definitely not a top tier game. This is a single A game, if I ever saw one. Let's see what Zenith Blue has developed. Apparently, La Mulana? Did I just click on the wrong thing? Oh, the developer just takes me to the publisher. Interesting. See, and that's the problem now, is that when you click on a developer's name on Steam, you're not guaranteed to even get to the place that you want to be. Alright, this...
The light protects me.
Let's see if we can do this. 6 plus 3 plus
I fight.
5 plus attack. And I've already lost almost certainly. Let's see, Your Gamer has an article. You must pay to play Nintendo Switch Online from next week. So the online pass is coming out, and yeah, it sucks. Yeah, having to pay to play online for Nintendo games and getting cloud saves really puts a hamper on the small bit of hype I had to where I might have at one point wanted to get a Switch. Like, it's really, really hard to justify paying even $1 for what you know is going to be a incredibly inferior experience. Although, for me in particular, I'm not sure I would need to pay to play online for the Switch. I'm not sure if I got a Switch I wouldn't kind of immediately hack it and be able to move save files off in some other way. Or possibly I would just hack it completely. Like, there is in the back of my head of, like, if I ever got around to getting a Switch, I might just hack it and steal all the Nintendo games and just be done with it at that point, and I'd just play the single player stuff, which is really, those are the two games on Switch I want to play right now, is Zelda and Mario. And in all fairness, if I was gonna just start trying to play all these Zelda and Marios and Metroid games, which I would say are the big three for me, that I've missed for the several now. I had a Wii, I didn't have a Wii U, and I really didn't even have a Wii all the way through the lifetime of the Wii, so there's a decent number of games that I could go back and play if Nintendo would not content IDing and block that gameplay, which that's the problem, is that they would literally block it. They wouldn't just claim the money. Moving on, GameIndustry.biz has an article. Team 17 posts a 25% profit bump in maiden financial results. This is the first financial report since going public earlier this year. Almost certainly you're going to claim a big profit the first time you go public, because you went public and you made money by selling shares. Also, you could have been very easily hiding the truth of the situation up until that point and then make it look better than it does. There's a lot of ways to manipulate things and make it look better than they are. That being said, Team 17 not doing too bad in the video game industry either. Let's see, I could give this one health, and then
deploying countermeasures.
I could attack here.
Deploying countermeasures.
And this one doesn't have a death rattle. So I'm just gonna merge that
Job done.
in return. I don't know why I didn't merge that first. Moving on, Gamasutra has an article. Danganronpa creator Kazuchika Koda, that's Kazutaka space Kodaka, Kodaka, yeah, establishes a new game studio called Tokyo Games, Tokyo Games. I suppose Tokyo is supposed to be one word in the logo, but everything I've seen it written has been 2 words, so I'm confused there.
Deploying countermeasures.
Let's see. Tokyo already has 4 projects in development, including a shocking adventure game and a cyberpunk title that's being made in collaboration with Zero Escape and Pokemon Mystery Dungeon developers by Chunsoft. Now, as I'm understanding this, a lot of the people who left to work, a lot of people left Spike Chunsoft to work for Tokyo Games, so I don't know why there would be disloyalty, particularly in a Japanese perspective to a company. They clearly must have needed or wanted to do something big and different. Let's see. Because people who made the Zero Escape and the Danganronpa games are now working for this company, it's fair to speculate, I think, that there may never be any more Zero Escape games, which I'm not sure that story didn't wrap up fine, and there may not be any more Danganronpa games, which I'm not sure that story didn't wrap up fine also, so it might be fine regardless. Attacking. They showed off like single pictures showing off the 4 games they have in production. It's not unheard of for production committees to be made for anime TV series. I wonder if there's a similar idea that's encroaching into the video game design world in Japan too, where companies get formed specifically so that 1 or 2 or in this case 4 games get made, and then after those games are made, there's nothing more ever planned to be released for it.
What is my purpose?
Let's see. Well, we'll have to wait and see on that case. Let's see. Gematsu has an article. Zoid's Wild game launches this winter in Japan. Anime-esque visuals for an anime-based game. Zoids, as a anime series, is probably one of the least known in the United States that's still sort of known and kind of people are nostalgic for. It's sort of Transformers-esque in you're driving around a bunch of animal-shaped robots, and it was tied into actually selling model kits of the Zoids, which I somehow ended up getting when I was a kid and putting together. It was pretty cool, but it was also a pretty difficult thing to build, and I'm not sure I did a great job on it. So yeah, I'm not sure Zoid's Wild will come to the West and apparently it's coming to the Switch. And nothing else, which is slightly interesting because I would have almost assumed that it would have been a PC game, a mobile game actually. Alright, moving on. I'm not sure how much of this news I'm actually going to get done today. We have a game on Steam called Rust Puppy Kids Games. Rust Puppy being the developer. I don't know if I trust these kids games, as I just saw a animation of a kid using toilet paper. Seems a little too early, and I'm not sure I trust it. It's English only, but I almost think Rust R-U-S-S Puppy is winking a nod to this being a Russian troll developer. And nothing here looks great as a game, and it's 20% off for $3.99. So let's ignore the fact that I think it's a Russian troll developer, which now that I see the other things that is listed already on Steam, I now know it's a troll developer. Even if I didn't know that, though, I wouldn't recommend that game. Speaking of troll games, next game we have on Steam is called Steven the Sperm, which seems to be a MS Paint drawn platformer of some sort, bouncing around. It looks like garbage. It has 14 achievements. It's $1.99. Close that tab. Next we have a game called Rock of Whispers Prologue. In the chilling cellar beneath the apocalyptic snow, Phelan the witch wakes up from hibernation and ventures into the Forsaken world. Guide her through the process of escaping the cellar and seeing the changed world for her first time. It says it's an indie adventure according to the tags. Not sure if this is really a visual novel with some adventure elements or what. Like, it almost looks like a point-and-click adventure. It's tagged English, traditional Chinese, Japanese, and simplified Chinese. And with a name like Phelan, I suspect it's probably a Chinese game, but it doesn't look terrible. At least right now it doesn't. And the prologue is, I assume, the free introductory to a bigger game coming out later. This developer has made a game called Opus The Day We Found Earth, which, let's click on that and see if maybe we can get an idea of the ratings on that. It's 85% positive with 512 user reviews, and it kind of looks like a point-and-click adventure too. Okay, well, I think both of those games then should be put in my wish list, and I should keep an eye on them. Opus came out April 21st, 2016, and yeah, that's something to think about.
I wonder what this does.
I'm not gonna win here. This guy is just stringing me along. Next we have a game called Betweenside, B-E-T-W-E-E-N-S-I-D-E, one word. They say it's a first-person gothic fiction set in interwar Cornwall, where players rewrite the story as they go. The patriarch of a once respected house is dead, survived only by his late sister's children, left to them as his worldly and unworldly belongings and the fate of their family. So is this a text game? No, it really isn't. It's kind of a low polygon, it's like a low polygon 3D game. Looks like there's probably some puzzles, maybe a little bit of horror elements. Doesn't look terrible though. I could see a lot of games looking like this and me being immediately tempted to brush them off. But I think this one deserves a little bit more investigation. So it's 10% off. Between side is 10% off for $5.39. The price is cheap. And this is the second game that the developers made. The other one was called In Space, which is very positive. 84% of 96 user reviews. Still keep on playing. In Space doesn't look interesting to me at all, but Opus does. I mean, Between Side does. So I'll put that on the wish list. Interesting. This is the first day in maybe 2 weeks where I've found a decent number of games to go on the wish list. The last week felt very much like there was no reason to do anything to wishlist any of the games. Here's a game that probably won't get wishlisted. It's called Boobs Puzzle, B-O-O-B-S, in case you need to spell that. It looks like it is a complete Candy Crush clone with some animated girls with clouds over their boobs and their pelvic region, and maybe as you make it forward in the game you'll eventually see something. This game is 99% 99 cents and it has 100 achievements, so you just kind of know it's an achievement game.
The light protects me.
It's questionable whether they bought the rights to these anime characters or not. Like, the last thing you'd want to do is play a Candy Crush game, just to be fair, on a PC. Like, Candy Crush is a cheating game that you can never really win at in the first place. It's literally been scientifically proven that it cheats and screws you over so that you have to buy more tries and force microtransactions. But even if it didn't cheat, you'd still want to play that on a mobile game when you had some free time, not in front of a computer for several hours. And the boobs don't really add anything to it. I'm not sure if it says 10 levels in the entire game. That's all it has, so I don't even know if you're ever actually going to see any nudity in the game. So, moving on, we have a game on Steam called Bunny Battle Arena, which,
Time waits for no one.
how are they describing this? How about anger management treatment through stabbing humanoid bunnies with a possessed princess in love with death? Bunny Battle Arena, the best medicine for anger issues management, is the description here. It's tagged action, adventure, indie, violence, and I'm seeing some grotesque depictions of bunnies that are turned into like monster creatures. But there's actually an interesting amount of polish on this too. So this probably is an asset flip game, but
For the wild.
they're trying to make it look interesting. They're showing a live-action girl in one of the trailers, and I think that's the bait and switch that's happening here, because it's not a live-action game at all. Instead, it's like a 2D side-scrolling fighting game where I don't even know if there's a girl. Yeah, I'm seeing a girl, but they're not showing her very often in the screenshots. She looks completely different in the game than the live action trailer looks. I'm not even sure this isn't a turn-based RPG thing. I'm not even sure it's real-time fighting. Might also just be closer to a clicker than anything else, with a bunch of different currencies. Still trying to get a handle on this gameplay. Okay. It's a runner where you seem to be controlling it mostly with the mouse. Yeah. And you're fighting bunnies. Yeah, this game is ridiculous. It has 20 achievements. It's 40% off of $5.99. Says it's rating pending from the SRB. It's from a developer who made a game on March 19th, 2018 that only got 4 user reviews called Cruise Brothers, which was just a fighting game of some sort. Bad quality fighting game. I have to say the same is true for Bunny Battle Arena. So, yeah. We're going to end on a bad note. How are we on news on this recording? Like, looking at the bar at the top of my Chrome browser, the way I've configured it is still putting things to the right of the Humble store, but we probably only have about an hour worth of content for at least up to the Humble store, if not after that. And it's already been an hour and 7 minutes for this recording, so this is the time to break it up. Where are we on quests? Oh, yeah, I don't actually need to get that quest. I can do that Friday. So, in the break, I'll move over to the Asian account. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want to friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below in the description box. And if you want to support me even further, you can friend me on Steam, gift me a game, or support me through Patreon. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.